over here, Tori. I obviously can't talk about everything, so you do want to spend some more time reading. You know, this is not a time to be polite. If you can't see, push yourself in. If you're really tall, I like what you're doing, Chris, stand in the back so the shorter people can see what they need to see, kind of thing. All right? There's just so much. I'm just standing here looking at this, and there's just so much going on in the age of Jackson. So many major changes. I see Nat Turner over there, so I know that this is when abolition really begins to get going. The life of a slave, this is when it's truly the whole plantation system, when the plantations are truly this entire production, factory level kind of situation going on here. I see the Tariff of Abominations and John C. Calhoun right there in 1828. I know this is where the sectionalism is starting to begin as the Northerners are starting to take control because there's more of them, so they're getting more representation in Congress, so they're starting to tax in a way that the Southerners don't like. Remember, this is when you all started sitting in separate seats, Southerners on one side of the class and Northerners of the other. This is the nullification crisis, Andrew Jackson and the bank and all that politics going on, all right? And even, we'll get to it in just a second, but not too far ahead, women finally started to be fighting as well. So this is when we're beginning to have all kinds of stuff changing, especially this age of Jackson. All right, let's keep going. Now, nativism was written a tad too early. Hopefully most of you potato people know what I'm talking about. NINA. Hopefully you remember what that stood for. No Irish need apply. Remember, they're coming because of the potato famine. All right, this is really when the first anti-immigration begins. Anti-immigration attitude. Oh, you Irishmen, we don't want you, you Catholic scourge, etc., etc., etc. And of course, there's a story that's still going on to this very day. Moving west, you're adding Texas, the Mexican War. Perhaps, no, our most controversial war of the 19th century is clearly the Mexican-American War. So for those who, like you had a test question not too long ago about the Vietnam War being the first controversial war, not even close. Right? There was an awful lot of people who said, why the hell are we attacking Mexico and stealing half their country? And that, of course, is going to come back to bite us when the Zimmerman telegram comes along. Okay? You'll notice around this time period, a lot of you are forgetting who the presidents are. That's okay. I don't think much about Zachary Taylor either. Right? Sorry, wherever you are. And, of course, wow, John Brown is not on here? OMG. Isn't it funny, though, when everybody thinks about the Civil War and they think of slavery and they think of rights and blah, 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 they don't realize perhaps the first place to look is, of course, with money and gold. 2 gold rushes, right? One in California. Some of you, I said it earlier, where's the other one? Alaska. But don't forget, way back there, the Cherokee are never going to forget what happened with gold in Georgia. Right? That's obviously the whole Indian story. See, I just don't have time for everything, obviously. But the Indian story is still going on, obviously. The Indians right here. Right here. The Indians living, remember the Chief Joseph story? I will never, I will surrender. That whole thing. The Nez Perce haven't even seen a single white man, other than maybe Lewis and Clark came by and then they were gone. So everybody living in the Mississippi west of that, they've hardly ever seen a white man. So this stuff, all that walking that you've been doing, the longest story we have is the story of the Indians, right? But with John Brown not being on here, wow. Wow, right? So the money, what I said, the gold rush. Come to California, all of a sudden, that 1850 compromise, there is no way we have time to go over the entire Civil War time period. But just remember, it starts right about 1850. In fact, if you remember, when we voted to attack Mexico, when we were replaying in history, don't walk on this stuff. When we were voting to replay it in history, I said, be careful what you wish for. If you guys had never grabbed all that land, if you had never gotten California, you would have never had to get rid of the Missouri Compromise. You would have never had to start having all these debates over is it a free state or a slave state. You finally pretty much, whoa, yellow jacket. You finally pretty much gotten to the point where there's no more compromise. Do I need to tell anybody who John Brown was? Okay.
Yes, Kat.
Really, Kat?
She's speaking for the people.
I'll tell you later in a little bit, okay? But without John, all right, raid on Harper's Ferry. Remember the raid on Harper's Ferry? Free all the slaves by giving them weapons? Who here worked for John Brown? I know Jake Bansberg, you know, all right, a bunch of you did, right? Look at all the people who worked for John Brown. They all know who he was, right? Right? You see what I mean? Remember again, you guys lived this. You guys lived this. You guys hated each other because some of your friends were trying to kill you. That's how important John Brown was. All right, let's keep going. We lived the Civil War. We don't need to keep doing it. Don't go too far. Hold up, hold up, hold up.